Friends, it's Jeff. Quick announcement. First, as you may know, we are releasing daily on the Around the Circle podcast channel. Early Access, Inside Story, The Morning Show, Rewired. These are all shows you can find all in one place. A dream of ours has been to elevate some great content daily for our hearts, keep us from the trash out there, give our brains something to chew on that's fresh. All of that is big work for us, but this is secondary. For those of you who want to do real Enneagram work, most of our best resources are at aroundthecircle.org, where we're putting together online discussion groups, we're doing book studies, and we're doing a series of other things that allow us to connect with one another. You can learn about Enneagram from a podcast, but real transformation and use of the tool is going to require other people. So go sign up for a free membership. You'll get emails about what we're up to, access to a whole range of extra content. And alongside this, second, we are looking for folks. We're looking for folks to interview around stress and security and panels as we move into the future. Specifically, we need 2s, 3s, and 7s. And if you're interested, reach out to me on Instagram. Just search for the Around the Circle podcast on Instagram and send me a message. Or you can obviously sign up for a membership at aroundthecircle.org, and then you can just direct message me there and probably get preference. And lastly, our first book, Around the Circle, is up. It's only on Amazon.com and Audible. Hope you have a happy day. May all good things be yours. All right, this is Rewired. I'm Jeff Cook.
I'm Katie Whitlock.
Katie, we're creating an epilogue.
Yes, we are.
We're going to do an epilogue to the processing centers. I foresee in our future, Katie, far more panels. And this is going to be one of the first of getting a bunch of people assembled who know some stuff about their type and talking cross types and elevating some information that we don't necessarily get to see very often. And lo and behold, we have assembled the most informed people I know to talk about 3, 6s, and 9s, their respective numbers, about the processing center idea. So I'm going to welcome some folks. Hey, Kristin.
Hey, Jeff. Hey, Katie.
Hi.
Kristin Messegee.
No.
Kristin Messegee is the most informed person on the planet in terms of Enneagram 6s. I'm so excited for your contribution to this, because this is a processing center is going to be a fresh idea for you. Yeah.
Okay, wait. I already have a contribution. I think this cross-type panel could be the new thing. I'm like, this is so much better than a bunch of people who are mistyped and it's all weird. Cross-type, when you actually can see, I think this is good. There's something here.
Katie and I may have been talking about this, and so in the works.
Okay, it's brilliant.
No pressure.
Anyway, yes,
if you screw up today, we're not going to do it. So.
I am interested in what's going to happen today. I'm excited for this conversation. Yes.
And the TJ Wilson's with us.
Hey.
As you know, coffee guru, lover of theology, Enneagram ninja, cougher on the mic.
I have not used my voice very much this morning, so still adjusting to getting some of the cobwebs out.
That's fair. And Katie, you're going to get interviewed.
Yay.
Recruiting 3 power. Well, we're going to jump into processing center. I'm going to be the primary interviewer since Katie's going to take a role as one being interviewed. And we're going to dive into what this looks like. Obviously, we've spent weeks on this in lead up to this conversation. So big picture for me is that 3, 6s, and 9s all take in the world through their primary center. I think it's the case their underlying feeling emerges, kind of makes them uncomfortable. They detach because 3, 6s, and 9s are the detachment triad, and they move elsewhere to do some work so that they can return to their primary center and fulfill their motive. That's a shorthand for me. Do you got anything to add there, Katie?
No, I'll be interested to hear from the other two, because what's going to happen here is that somebody on this panel is in the center that we have run away from. And so I'll be interested, Kristin, I'll be really interested to hear about your experience in the feeling center, because I am trying to get away from that as fast as possible. So I'll be interested to hear what you're doing there, basically. I'm looking forward to that. But
Big move then is going to be, we're going to be talking to TJ quite a bit about his relationship with his head. Kristin's with her heart. Katie's with her body and intuitions. So, TJ, I'm going to start with you.
Sweet.
You are informed on said matters, and we've talked about this idea in the past extensively. Yep. In fact, you have interviewed one Joey Shuey about this topic.
That's true. She blew my mind.
Tell me what your experience is of shutting down that intuitive body center and moving into your head.
Like you said, we take in all of this information from our bodies, from the world around us, but it doesn't ever really inspire action, like a response. Like the next step for me is always trying to figure out where this information makes sense. Like, what does it mean? Where does it go? And then what to do with it. I love the word processing, but it's so it takes it away from all the other uses. The information needs to make sense. It needs to go in a place. Like it doesn't necessarily need to have like a grand purpose or something. Like it just needs to make sense. And if it doesn't make sense, then that's the problem that I want to solve.
Can we cross question, Jeff? Or
yeah, of course.
Okay, TJ, I'm so sorry. You know what I'm going to ask. Can you give me an example?
You say you take in information. Well, what kind of information are you taking in? Right? Like what are you looking at?
So the information that I'm receiving is through my body, through my gut, through the ineffable energy of the universe.
Clears that right up.
Right, but what does that mean?
I suppose I come to this just a little bit more dramatically. My assumption is that there's like something in the center that's really pushing the 369 away from the center, as opposed to like you actually bring in the world and the world is coming at you and you don't like it. My assumption is that there's something there, and it's not just out there. It's the world inside is also coming at you and you don't like that either.
Yeah. I have anger problems. I have had anger problems my whole life, and part of my experience, whether this is nature or nurture, is that I need to know what the anger is actually about. The anger is never just anger. I have either learned or intuited or something, like there is a sense of whenever I experience anger, I'm never just experiencing anger, and I need to spend the time to figure out what the anger is actually about. It's not about the feeling. It's not about anger should be a motivator, and what it does for me is it makes me pull back so that I can figure, what's actually happening here? Because I don't want to deal with the anger. I want to deal with the thing that's underneath the anger, because the anger is just going to cause problems. The anger is irrelevant, and
That's good.
Figure out. You're going to process that.
I got to figure out what's underneath that anger. Because the
do some business there.
anger can't possibly be the main thing, right?
We aren't co-signing that, but we're saying, yes, you think that.
Yes.
That's
Correct.
your experience.
Yes, I do think that.
Yes.
Yeah.
That seems real clean to me in terms of how this works for the 9. You take in the world, you experience the anger. This is a deep underlying feeling that all human beings experience, but especially the body triad. We all feel like we need to do something with our anger. Like it makes a lot of sense that the 9 simply detaches.
Yeah.
And moves into, let's analyze this. The thing about analysis, which I've been thinking quite a bit about recently, is it takes the power away from shame and anger. If you start thinking about your shame, it takes away I suppose that's right. If you analyze your fear, if you analyze your anger, it takes away you're not feeling your feelings anymore. You're thinking about your feelings.
Yeah.
Bang. All right. Anything else in terms of setup on 9s? Katie, did you hear anything?
TJ, why do you think you go to thinking and not feeling? Why is thinking more attractive? If I know that we're hardwired this way, so we don't really get to choose, right?
Sure.
But what about feeling feels not as easy for you if you thought about using that instead of thinking?
Feeling requires energy.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
That's all I need. That's great.
I backed up from the
Yes, it
anger so
does.
that I didn't
Yeah.
have to use that energy.
Yes, it does. Yep.
There's also like, because in this whole thing, we're very much connecting feeling and relating. Like it's a big idea here. I think I just mocked you guys by doing that. I'm sorry. I apologize. The big idea is feeling and relating are connected. So I'm wondering too, TJ, if there's something about, I don't want another person involved in this whole thing that I'm trying to figure out. That would only muddy the waters.
More than that, it would impose some kind of requirement onto other people to help to it would impose myself onto someone else.
Because what's coming up for me is like the fixation. So that would fit, right? Because you're like, I would be, essentially what you're saying is I would be asking something of someone else. I would be putting myself in the mix, and we know you're not going to do that.
I can deal with myself. I can deal with my own stuff. Or at least I need to get my stuff sorted enough so that it's not a burden for someone else.
Totally. Yep.
Is it really that first that I might impose on someone else and not that someone else might impose on me?
It's both.
It's both.
It's both. Equally, it's both?
It's other people's emotions is what's going to impose on me. My emotions are what's going to impose on other people. And it's often the case that I feel very comfortable entering spaces where I take on other people's emotions because I can hold that space. But I don't want other people to have to hold my space.
Because
I'm not allowed to assert myself.
Because his presence doesn't matter.
Right. I will say going forward, Kristin, what you said about the feeling center being relational, I just want to sign up. When I talk about the feeling center, I am talking, it's like Joey uses the EQ language, right?
Yeah.
It is the relational center. It's not just where feelings happen, right?
Yeah.
Like we all have feelings. It doesn't make sense to just put them in the feeling center. So when I talk about the feeling center, I certainly am talking about like relational, mutual connection, looking at someone else, wanting something from them, like all of that stuff. Is what I'm talking about when I talk about the feeling center. So I think that's something that's good to set up for the rest of the conversation.
Yeah, because I had to onboard that for this conversation and for this theory as a whole. It's working for me mostly.
And I'm sure we'll get into the objectivity, subjectivity part of that conversation, and nines being at the crown of the Enneagram.
The crown of objectivity.
We're the least subjective because we can see all of you clearly. So.
If only you would share your thoughts about it occasionally.
Shh.
What did you say, Jeff? I talked over you.
According to Shui, you move into the space 6 is occupied. It's actually the 3s who are at the crown after the processing center. Speaking of 3s, real quick preface that I think Siegel gets it right in terms of the heart center. He talks about this being evolutionarily the space that bonding takes place, that bonding with others is essential to survival, and that this part of your nervous system is primary for the 2, 3, 4. And so the feelings of sadness and relational disconnection that may occur in this center is about that. I'm just plussing what I heard in Katie's language, which I also sign off on, but I just wanted to add that is a helpful perspective for me.
Just meaning it's correct. Let's just put a pin in that, okay?
I mean, he is a PhD, right? He could not possibly be wrong about something with that degree.
No, it's important we forward that.
Speaking about heart center, let's talk, Katie. What's going on when you move off of the feeling center into action or processing with action?
I just don't know how else you would get people to like you. That's the real answer. Listen, I can make this sound academic and I will and whatever. The real answer, I don't know how else to get people to like me other than performing what I know they like. How else, without expending every ounce of energy I have every day to connect emotionally with people, which I can't do because I do not have that amount of energy, I can't possibly get the connection I want from people. I can't. And how do you even know what individual people want from you? I know what the collective wants from me, and I can do that. If I'm standing in a room of 27 people, how do you make 27 different connections? How do you do that? That's impossible. So you just have to perform what the collective wants you to do, and then generally people will like you.
How do you know what the collective wants?
I don't know. Maybe the sense. I mean, if we're saying I go into the body center, but here's what I think. I don't think I start using body center tools. I think I just start doing stuff.
Well, here's how I've heard it taught, and I wanted to hear you speak to this. 3s take in the emotions of the entire room, and then set that aside, and then do the thing. And I'm like, what? So I want to hear about that.
Okay, the answer to this might be no, because I'm assuming everyone else has the same experience as I do. Have you ever been public speaking in a let's say a group of more than like 15 people?
Sadly,
right?
yes.
And just you say something, let's use an example. You say something and the vibe shifts in the room. Right?
Yeah.
And it's not any one person really did anything. It's just all of a sudden something's off. Right? It's that. Like, I don't know. How do you know that? You just do. Right? You just sense it. You just notice. When I'm in front of a room, how do I know what these people want from me? Well, I don't really.
But
right? I
follow
never ask
the
them.
vibes.
It's just the vibes.
That's good.
And the hard part is that sometimes, because I'm not in the body center, like I get it wrong sometimes, right? So that's why 3s have to be quick at like switching, because I don't think we're native vibe sensors.
Oh, maybe you are. I think this is it. I think the teaching is you are a native vibe sensor.
Yeah.
But then that creates discomfort.
Right. So starting at the beginning, let's start at the beginning. I'm in the heart center. I want people to connect with me. I always say I want people to like me. Everybody wants everybody to like them. Everybody wants people to like them. I want people to connect with me because I don't know who I am unless people tell me who I am. Like I said, I have no idea how to do that if I have to actually genuinely mutually connect with people to get that, right? That makes me super uncomfortable. I don't trust my read of individual people. I feel like I don't know individual people that well. I feel like I'm not that good at reading that deep into people. And so I leave the feeling center because that's where all that lives. And I go into action, which is vibe center, because I can read the general vibe and I can do something with that. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially as a social 3.
Yeah. And I know, but I hesitate because this has to apply to all 3s.
Yeah, I was just like,
so,
well, it would be
not-
similar for a sexual 3, but it just wouldn't be about the group. It would be about the person that they're bonding with. But you're saying exactly the right thing, I think.
But that's why I think. Like, my question for you, Kristin, would be like, how do you know if you want a mutual bond with somebody? How do you know when you have it? You don't know what that person's thinking, right? You don't know if you've actually bonded with that person. What if they're walking around thinking you're stupid?
I think that the question you're asking is leading with an assumption that is incorrect, which is that 6s can accurately do that.
Yeah.
Only people who are genuinely relationally healthy can do what you just said. And 6s are not that by nature. Just because they're relational does not mean they're doing it well. So a ton of projection is happening often.
Yeah.
And that's also where you get the doubt ping. It's like, we've landed. But have we? I'm not sure. What if they don't like what I said? So that's how I first want to answer that question is we don't, but we can think we do, but then we'll doubt it. So it's not this like confidence in that realm.
So you're okay just never knowing what people think about you?
No, it's not. No. There's not a lot of okayness happening here.
Yeah.
Like
you're okay with not feeling okay?
It's
not
it's not
that,
a
I know.
choice.
Yeah. I'll be interested to hear how you describe what the move is in 6.
Yeah,
and then I
I'm
have a
trying.
bunch of
I'm
questions
withholding
for you.
because we're yeah.
Yeah.
I'm ready to do all that.
That's the move in 3.
Yeah. Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
I would love to pitch what I'm hearing and what I've really learned from Katie on 3ness. Again, it feels to me like that experiencing the world through your heart center is uncomfortable, and there's a move off of it to intuition and vibes. I think vibes is a great word for what I experience in my body, and getting the vibes from others is intuitive work. And so, like, it's the seeking that information that I think you're saying. It's like, what do the people, how do they feel about me? Or what's their posture towards me? And you get it intuitively as opposed to through other mechanisms. The thing I also see is that 3s are incredibly fast at intuiting what the culture wants socially, intuiting what the person in front of them wants if they have more of that bonding sexual instinct, or, you know, for self-present, it's going to be a little bit more complex, but at the very least, understanding this is what is valued here is kind of primary and intuitively known and seen and recognized. Who is it that is getting the attention in this culture and around me, in this classroom when I'm a kid, you know, in this church when I'm going as a young person, in this culture when I see them with the microphone singing the songs. And then naturally the 3 says, how do I can certainly get that sort of attention by doing what I see the culture rewarding.
Yeah, those things.
And that would be the processing. Yeah, I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna do it, and then I'm gonna come back to my heart and see if people care about me.
Yeah,
Isn't that how that
means
works?
that you like me. Yeah, I've performed these things that you all like. So there you go. Now we have a connection. Of course, right? I've been.
So this is interesting because Jeff's saying go back to the heart.
Yes.
But again, it's not genuine relating. Like, Katie, what you just said is you're like, ta-da, it's that.
Yeah.
Ta-da.
Yeah.
And then your heart can ping or say, aha, I have now made a connection. Of course, that's not lasting. You just have to do it again, do it again, do it again.
I think my heart says, aha, now I've been seen.
Yes.
Oh.
Because I really am. It's not the connection. I think we use that word for what the heart center people want. What we really want is to be seen and to be known. And I have performed the thing, and now I'm this great person, and now you see me. See? Don't you see me? I'm a great person. Right? And now you think that about me, which is great because I don't know what to think about myself. So if you think I'm a great person, then that means I'm a great person. That's awesome. Right? What 2s, 3s, and 4s really want is to know who we are. And if I can, that's where the manipulative part comes. I think if I can manipulate public opinion into telling me what I want to hear about myself, then I have succeeded.
Yeah, because the whole vibe thing, what if you're like, aha, but then you get a vibe that someone isn't buying it or whatever.
Bad. Switch the, whatever you're doing needs to change.
I like the vibe idea. I think there's a space between sort of intuiting in the way that body center does and empathing in the way that the heart center does.
Yeah.
And I think like being like there's so much about like 3's not necessarily needing to win the whole room. Part of that is because it's inefficient and like it's just a huge waste of time to try and get every single person. And so there's a collective emotional energy. And like if one person deviates from that collective energy, who cares?
Yeah.
The energy is still represented. And that's
If it might depend on the target there. Like there might be a very important person, as it were, somebody valued by the 3 who deviates, and it doesn't matter what the room thinks. But case in point, I think you're right. Thoughts on that, Katie?
Well, and there's also, I agree. So that's going to be, we start in two different centers. Like, I am not in the body center. I am not a body center number. When I hear 891 talk about what it means to be intuitive, there's this like physical sense to it, like physically where you are, what the room feels like, what I feel like in the room. And that does not factor into me at all. All of the vibes that I'm talking about, they're all relational and emotional. It's what people think. What do I think of people? What do people think of me? It's all that. So certainly the information that we are intuiting, quote unquote, is different because we're in two different centers and we take in two different types of information for sure.
I don't think that's necessarily off with 8s, 9s, and 1s though. I can make intuitive assessments of other people's feelings as well, and those are incredibly important to me.
Yeah, I think you have a line to 4, which helps you probably with that.
That's probably true.
I wonder if an 8, well,
My husband wouldn't say that.
yeah.
Your husband wouldn't say that other people's feelings are important to him?
Not at work. Oh.
Okay.
In fact, let's not about
yeah.
those. He's learned
That's fair.
behaviors too, because he's a boss. So he's like, I have to care to some degree.
That's
But
interesting.
I'm not.
And
Other people's feelings are primary for me.
Yeah. And you're also right next to the heart center.
Yeah. And you're a
8s.
reactive type. There are a lot of reasons.
Her husband's a 1 also, though.
Oh,
That's-
okay.
Yeah, that's why I brought
Sorry.
it. Yeah, not me. Him.
Right.
Yeah. Like he's also self-pres. My feelings matter a great deal to him, but
To build on this, and we'll pivot to you in a second, Kristin. I like the image of doing intuitive business and the processing, just like a processing plant would. You go to work, you do the business, and get what you need at work, and then you return home and assess. I assume that that's happening both with TJ, your 9ness, and Katie, your 3ness, in terms of has what I did in my head appeased my anger? Has what I did intuitively and with my body appeased my sense of valuelessness and shame? And that's the move. It's the returning really matters, and the assessment when you get back to the center really matters. And I suppose I intuitively think what you're primarily asking is my underlying feeling met? Would that work for y'all?
Yeah. It's just that, have I been seen?
Yeah. Those are two sides of the same coin, yeah.
Yeah.
If you are seen, then there's no reason for you to feel valueless.
Yes, that's what I mean. Yeah, that's
Yes.
what I mean by that.
So then to say that maybe more simply, is it like discomfort? Uh-oh, I got to do my thing. And then I hopefully feel a little better. I mean, is that what you're
Yes.
saying, Jeff?
Yes.
Yeah. It's just an attempt to feel better because our, in whatever the first feeling is so uncomfortable. I have to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We consistently are kind of hitting on underlying feelings recently. I think this is becoming just much more of a topic that Enneagram wise we're aware of. It's just how core these are to producing your motive and how core it is to how you are in the world given your type.
This is when the 6 gets really irritated because I'm like, what else do
me.
people talk about when they talk about the Enneagram except their core feeling? Like, I literally just want to like explode
That's all
right
there
now,
is.
but it's fine.
Well, speaking of 6s then, you're taking in the world through your head, but I assume, Kristin, that relationships are very important to you. How do relationships that you hold, how do they relate to the fear and anxiety that you experience?
It just feels like way too big of a question. I need it
How is
more.
it that, is it the case that you are aware of what it's like to move into the heart center and do work there?
I'll say this. Yes. How do I want to say it? Yes.
That's better.
Yes. Next question.
Can you do what TJ and I did where we talked about this is what we're taking in and then this is where we're going to actually do something with that information?
I will do my best. So let's say a thing occurs. Okay. So I will make up a story very quickly. So the thoughts and feelings come so quick. I mean, I see them as fused together. So what I'm very aware of is that I have feelings about everything all the time. So maybe that's what we're talking about. And then I want to make connections for lots of different reasons. I want to see if we're on the same page. Okay, that's huge for 6s. And we're often not, which causes all sorts of issues. Are we on the same page? Do we see the same problems? I am actually trying to discharge my emotion using other people. We talk about 6s emoting. So it's like a pressure cooker. And I want to release. Well, that's going to come out my face. So until I know that about myself, right, I could be finding myself in some awkward spaces with people because I think I'm just sharing facts or talking about a thing when really I'm discharging this immense well of emotion that is ever present. So there's an example, I feel like. Did that land as
Yes, that's
useful?
phenomenal. Why
Okay.
why do you need other people to do that? Why can't I know this is like the question, right? But why why not stay in the head center and figure it out
'Cause
in your own
I
head and
don't-
think about all the problems and
I don't trust my feelings, right? I don't trust, like, I need them validated. This is the whole external location thing. Are these feelings correct? I need someone else to say, that makes sense that you feel that way. So, obviously that's work to be like, makes sense. I feel this way. It's okay. Of course I feel this way. I'm thinking about
Right.
every frickin' buddy's deal. So there's a real, I don't want to say utilization, but to some degree, right? I'm trying to get reassurance, have my feelings validated, and make sure we're on the same page. That's where the other people part comes in.
You said, like, you're the one taking care of everyone else?
I said,
Why?
like, thinking about all, like,
Yep.
I'm thinking about
Why?
everybody's deal.
Why? Why does everyone else's deal matter?
Because the collective functioning matters a great deal to, right? I want to say should matter to everyone. I mean, that's what I desperately want to say, right? Like, because what do you mean?
yeah.
Because we all, like, it's just so second nature and natural for the people that matter to me. And there's circles of import, but I can get to everybody. It matters that we're doing okay collectively is the easiest way to answer that. And I can track it all. Like, Katie, when you were saying, oh my gosh, what did you say? You couldn't possibly expend the energy.
No.
And
no.
I had so much empathy for myself and my fellow 6s in that moment. Cause I'm like, yeah, it's exhausting.
Yeah. Yes.
It's exhausting. It's so draining.
I'm pointing because this is something that Katie and I are bantering about in terms of how our energy is utilized prior to behavior and why some folks appear to use up a lot of their energy in their inner life before actually acting in the world. And some people just naturally begin acting in the world to get their motive. I think you're saying that well. The collective functioning, I imagine, would take an enormous amount of thought. Am I wrong there?
No, you are correct. But it's not thought you have to do. It just appears. This is not thinking that I'm like looking for ever.
Yeah.
It's literally just in my head.
But I imagine TJ's going to experience something real similar because human beings are messy and out of control and thinking through all of their possible future movements.
And context
in terms of
matters.
them
Context
disconnecting
matters
from you.
so much.
Am I wrong, TJ, in thinking that is a lot of where the energy of 9s is going? Is into those spaces? Because you're doing the business in your head.
Yeah.
And you're thinking through all of the potential moves.
Yep. And
What I hear, and I'm again just going to insert theory for Kristin, is the why not stay in the head center, but for all three of you, why not just stay in your center is a primary question. But it seems to me entirely natural to say, look, I am detaching from the emotion for a minute so that I can adequately address that emotion. The anxiety and fear is severe. And what's really helpful is that I have people who love me and care about me, who I've established relationships with, who honor, my presence and contribution and see the same world I do. And I would love their perspective on the things that concern me.
That's not all what it happens there.
Perfect.
No.
Tell me what happens, because I'm making up a
what
story.
you did there first, you like took a beat to like gather all your resources, value what you have already built and done.
That's not what you're doing first.
No, that is what happens when I get into my productive thinking, which is part of this conversation, I think, but I don't want to derail us. Like what you just did is nothing that automatically occurs in my brain.
Let me pause there, because of all things, deep sympathy for sixes. I feel like sixes are the ones who get shafted here in terms of saying you need to stay in your center and get your own head around your own thoughts and trust your own judgment and
That's
yada,
right.
yada, yada. We're not saying that necessarily to the 3s and 9s,
That's right.
but the movement, if the theory works, the movement's similar. It's just saying, look, this is how I, given my type, address the primal underlying feeling that
Well,
I
here's
have.
why. I'll tell you why. Because of the whole discharge thing I was talking about. So if I'm going around trying to get other people to validate my fears and anxieties, first of all, I'm saying, hey, let's look at everything there is to be uncomfortable about. People are not interested in that, first of all. They want to do other things, understandably.
Yes.
Okay?
Again, deep empathy and sympathy on that front.
Yeah. No, I do appreciate that because this is a big deal for sixes in the world. So if without awareness, okay, I'm going around and I'm like, hey, let's make sure that we are all aware of everything that could go wrong. And let's talk about that. People are like, what?
No.
Boring.
Yeah. So we don't really need to say more about why sixes get this like, can you just stop? I mean, we could say more words, but we don't want to be superfluous or anything. So TJ got it. Anyway, I think we could just say that.
I have
We don't want to provide a bunch of useless, meaningless context. So
Can I say something else?
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you are not a feeling, you heard both TJ and I say, feeling processing takes so much energy from us, right? And you said the same thing, Kristin. It does take a lot of energy, but TJ and I are like,
I'm in for it, though.
And why would I want to do that?
Yes.
Right? I don't have it. So if sixes and the other feeling processors, honestly, but we're talking about sixes, walk around, and if you talk to somebody who's not a feeling processor, and if they haven't done the work in themselves to understand that this is just a reaction to make themselves feel better, they are going to be like, go back over there and figure that out for yourself, right? Because I don't have the energy to spend with you to figure this out, because I'm not a feeling processor, and it takes so much from me to meet you in this space.
But
right?
here's the other thing, and this is, sixes with more awareness can say, I'm feeling really dysregulated. I would love for you to help me think something through.
Right.
I've got a lot of emotion about it. It's not about you. I mean, that is mature sixness that can actually bring someone in, because that can be received, right? You're like,
Yeah.
Cool. I can do that with you for 5 minutes. There's like a maturity where it can occur, but the six has to bring so much self-awareness to that interaction. Because otherwise they're really doing, I can just imagine it's a lot. I work with sixes all day long. It's a lot.
And also what I'm saying is like the other numbers also need to be mature to realize that like you're not going to die if your sixth friend wants to process something with you, even if they do it in an unhealthy way, right? That's what I meant. Like the other numbers, we all just assume we're right? So the other numbers, because we're so uncomfortable with this, we're like, you need to go figure that out. So
You're
that
saying
you don't
throw 'em a
do that
bone.
anymore. Yeah. Like, Yeah, throw him a bone.
But there are some people who will meet you in that space, yeah? Which is exactly what you're looking for, correct?
Yeah.
And that's the relational connection. And notice what it's doing in regards to your underlying feeling.
It's really tricky, Jeff. Because to let people meet me is a vulnerability that I'm not that interested in also.
Well,
And that's why I don't do it.
we talked about like emotional intelligence up front. You strike me as a highly emotionally intelligent person.
Thank you.
And notice how that functions here. Like because of your high EQ, you can go into that 3 space and do the survey relationally and say, who will be able to handle my moving away from my fear and do business with me so that I can move back into that space. And that's exactly what the processing center for a 6 would be. Yeah. Do you connect with that?
Yes, but again, what you're describing and what we're kind of trying to talk about, right, is like, here's what just happens. And here's a healthy version of it after
Correct.
a lot of work. So I'm trying to like balance that.
Let me put
Because I'm like, sure, we could all do better if we actually knew how to deeply connect and have real relationships and be vulnerable in the places that really, all of that. I can do that, but I don't feel like that's really describing the function.
Is it not the case that that's actually like you're putting your thumb on what the work actually is for Enneagram? It's that we are seeking to appease our motives in healthy ways that balance, that allow us to act when we're supposed to act and refrain when we're not supposed to engage these things with wisdom and not be foolish. And it just so happens that the 3 of you in that movement are just experiencing tools from a different center than the rest of us, where we're doing business with our underlying feeling in our center. And so, yes, of course, that move can be healthy and that move can be unhealthy, but the move is primal. It's part of your type, I think, is what if the theory holds, it's unavoidable. Like, is it avoidable?
That is my sense of it. Like, talking about the move is sort of like talking about how you breathe. Like,
Yes.
like for the 3 of us is like there is no move. This is just what happens.
Correct.
Like it's not a decision. It's not a plan. It's not something that I could even necessarily halt in its tracks. It's just what happens.
Like, I'm trying to elevate a way of talking about sympathy for your 3 types, because it can be the case that the recommendation is you just need to stay in your head center and do business in your head center and not move into relationships. Like, Kate just needs to sit with her feelings and not move into doing actions, and TJ needs to sit in productive doing in his center before just escaping into his head.
People shouldn't talk to other people that way, first of all. Let's start there.
Would that screw up the
I
relationship?
hear what you're saying. Here's how I teach it. Okay, without this theory, here's how I've always taught this for 6s. Because at first I was like, oh, 6s have a thinking problem. I was like, okay. Very quickly it was like, oh no, it's a feeling problem. So I realized very early on, it's a feeling problem. And that just made sense to me. We all need to deal with our core feeling. I was like, well, that makes sense. And then I learned, in order to deal with my core feeling, I must use my body center. And then I can come back to my head and do, like, Jeff, what you said. Think about who is blah, 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 blah. So that's how I've just always thought about this and how I teach all this. But to me, the thinking and the feeling thing happens so fast as to be fused together, which is what I heard TJ saying. Yeah. It's almost to the point where I'm like, am I a thinking type or am I a feeling type? Just because of the experience of the feelings being so present all the time. And then, yes, this relational thing, trying to get all that, but it's like a mess until I deal with it myself. Because there is that piece where we do have to do our own work. That's what's tricky.
For I mean, just to unveil like myself on this front, and the three of you will know this about me, but like I'm experiencing a real season of anger at myself. And the only question in my mind is, how do I execute better? That is going to alleviate all my internal fury. If I just do this better, then I will be okay. And that's like me taking in the anger and sitting in my body center, and I'm not moving elsewhere. Like you can see how unhealthy that could be for me to have that posture. Similarly, you can go into your processing center in a healthy way and unhealthy way and do business there in order to meet your motive in ways that matter.
Are we saying it's not good advice to tell these three numbers to learn how to sit in their emotion without running from it? Because I think that's good advice for me as a 3. Hey, you should stay in your heart center a little longer.
And perhaps we can talk about this, is what's actually taking place is if you stay in your heart center, you are doing business with your repressed center. I think that there's probably a little bit more of a loose connection with all the centers in terms of your intentionality. You can intentionally go into the centers with a posture of, I need to do work here. But I think normally functioning, that just doesn't happen. So with our repressed center, I think, in my view, I think you have to intentionally go to your repressed center to elevate it because it repressed, you know?
No.
You don't feel like
we're talking
that?
We're talking about the how. Okay, so Katie, what center would support you to stay longer with your feelings or to stay longer in a conversation?
The strength of God. I don't know. No, let me think. I don't know.
Right? Like I need to use my body center to support me enough to navigate this feeling stuff and then go back to my head. So like,
Right.
I'm
So
like,
that we would say then it would be my head, right? I'd have to
Yes.
use my head to
Yes.
go back to my heart. I'm just thinking what that would look like and if that's true.
yeah.
And I can't really come up an example of what that would look like.
You have to
How have
spend
you
time
done
with
it? Yeah. How have you done this?
I just know that I don't handle people well. So I know that I want to leave conversations before other people want to leave them. So I just force myself to stay in them. I don't know. Is that me using the thinking? I don't know. That's my answer. I don't know. I just feel like I learned that was something I was needed to work on, and I agreed it was something I needed to work on. So I just try to do it more. But I don't know what center that is that I'm using.
What you just described was another behavior, which is so interesting, right? It's like I'm supposed to stay, so I just stay. That's
what it feels like.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, normally I wouldn't care to talk to this person, but I can tell that they want to talk to me. So and it's good for me. Like, oh, I learned something about this. That actually made me feel better. I feel less lonely, all the things. Like, I know it's good for me. I'm not just doing it for the other person.
It is my sense that with 369s, there's a lot more fluidity in the centers for us. So it's hard to say, like, even just the idea of bringing up your repressed center for the 3 of us, that's not a one center thing. That's like, because, and we're all 3 centers, blah blah blah, all that stuff. But for the 3 6s and 9s, because of this movement, we have so much more fluidity, and so bringing up our repressed center actually involves the other 2 centers so significantly that I don't think that there is like a one stop answer.
I'm also having a hard time answering because there is debate in the Enneagram community about all of us, but the 3 debate is, are you supported by thinking or not? So, Jeff, don't let me put words in your mouth, but would you say that 3s are doing supported by thinking?
I actually wrote something down as we've been talking that I think that 3s are experiencing the world, and they're saying, this is how I intuit the world. What should I think about it? And that's the secondary center that's coming into play. And then, so like the thinking is supporting your intuitions at some level. and then moving back. Now it's very focused, I think. Like your thinking is about addressing your underlying feeling and your motive, but the thinking is there. And I would say the same for 6s and 9s, especially you see it with the 6s, you know, here's what I feel relationally. What should I do? That really works for me. For the 9, again, we've been talking about how like the 9 and feeling like they need to connect with other human beings as a primary, that is a primary fear of being disconnected. Here's what I think. So how should I feel about all these other people and where they are in the world? I suppose that just works for me as in saying that this is the secondary center for how the secondary center works for the 3 types. I would want to play with that a little bit.
I bring that up just to say, I didn't want to say the wrong thing. Jeff thinks that secondary center is in the middle. Joey, and maybe some other people, would say that we overly rely on our processing center. Like 3s start in feeling, we go to doing, and we stay there. Right. And she probably would agree that we go back to assess in the heart, but we stay there. So she's told me, she's like, you are not a thinker. As a 3, you are not a thinker. And I don't know where I land. Truly, I don't know where I land in those 2 theories. I have competing thoughts about both of them. So that's also why I'm having a hard time talking about my thinking, because I don't know what I think about my thinking.
But if you used thinking to connect to your feelings, is there anything there? Like if you literally were like, okay, brain, what do I feel right now? Where might I feel it? Can I hang out? Can I go looking for that, right? Can I use my thinky thinker to go explore my heart?
I think that's not thinking. I think that's just being a healthy like we said, feelings aren't just the feeling center, right? Thinking isn't the thinking center. The thinking center is multiple options and where do we go and how does this work and how does it fit together and what's the system, right? So being able to like view your own emotions in a healthy way and like quote unquote think about them, that does not convince me that I'm using the thinking center, right?
But would it be useful?
Sure, it would be useful.
I'm just
but
like,
that's
what's a practice to actually help you? Not you, Katie. We don't care about that. 3s in general, right? How do the feelings become part of the acceptable human?
I have to recognize when I'm getting the urge to hide something about myself, and then I just have to not do it. I don't have any other way. You just have to not do it.
You just gotta will it. And I do it.
When I practice, I literally tell people out loud, I'm like, I feel like I'm being too much or too little, or am I being boring? I'll just have to say it out loud and then resist the urge to like do something about it. That's the practice for me, at least.
It's like showing your shame to the light.
Showing your shame. Yeah.
Letting
but
it
that
dissolve.
doesn't have anything to do with the thinking center to me. I don't think.
The way I would intuitively read this is that 3, 7s, and 8s are doing all of their thinking from an independent space. And that makes it incredibly fast because it is not tied to their feelings or other people's feelings. And so you just don't understand how quick you think, but you are thinking, and you're thinking about what you're going to do. And that's why it's different from a lot of the rest of us when we think about other people's emotions and get bogged down, because other people's emotions are radically complicated. So 3, 7s, and 8s move fast with their thinking because the feeling center is just a quagmire and you avoid it. That's how I would think about it. TJ, you got something on that?
And I would even back up from that a little bit, and like the 3 of us, 3, 6s, and 9s, I would suggest that whatever we want to call it, secondary center, for me, feeling, for Katie, thinking, for Kristin, doing, is that like that center is not directed at ourselves in a way. Like we're not using that to discern, to inform our primary center about ourselves.
Can you say it again? We're
Yeah,
not
and let me
using our
try to think of a
secondary
different
center.
way to
Yeah.
say it.
That's spot on.
Yeah.
You are exactly right.
So I personally, TJ Wilson, I feel like I have a lot of empathic instinct, and I experience other people's emotions. I feel them. I don't experience, that is not directed toward myself. I don't experience my own emotions in that way. And so I don't process my own emotions in that way.
Okay, so
Like with that empath.
Do it for me.
So for Kristin, that secondary, that body thing is not for gaining trust in yourself.
Yes.
Automatically.
Right.
Totally.
Yeah. It is for finding trust, finding other things to support you.
And earning my
Right.
place in the
Right.
whatever.
And
Yeah.
so, and similarly for Katie, thinking is not about observing yourself. Thinking is about observing everything else. You don't need to observe yourself because what's out there is important, is the information that you're going to operate on.
Let me state it how I'm hearing it. It's that let's just call that the secondary center for a second for the sake of the conversation. The threes are thinking about others. When they go into action, they're thinking about others. That supports their action. The sixes feel other people's feelings, but it's supported with action. So it's how do I act on behalf of others in support of the feelings that I have? And the nines are going into thinking, but they're thinking, as we all know, that the nines are assessing everybody else's perspective. And so that perspective isn't just what they think, it's what they feel and how they are coming to the world. And so the nine is thinking about how other people are going to experience the world.
The only thing that doesn't work there is sixes are not feeling other people's feelings. They're
I
projecting.
don't think I'm thinking about
They're projecting their feelings onto other people. They're making a lot of assumptions. You can
No, the
not
action-
that you can't get a vibe of what someone's feeling, but you're often wrong about what's actually going on there.
Let me restate that on the six. I'm screwing up the feeling side. I was really trying to just jump to the action side. It's that your secondary center is the six, is what can I do for folks in support of
The relationship.
the heart. What can I do in support of the heart center? So for threes, it would be what should I think in support of the doing center? And for nines, it would be what should I feel in support of the thinking center?
It's also for six, what should you be doing to support? But Katie, I think this is interesting because it kind of, that may have been what happened when we were talking, right? As I was like, well, you could use your thinking to go toward yourself. And you were just like, that's not even thinking. I'm not doing that. It could be like because of what they're saying, where your thinking is so quick and out to others.
I don't know what it means to think about others.
But what Jeff is saying, because it's just so automatic.
Because thinking, processing, again, I'm going to bring up just using your brain to think is not using the thinking center. So just because my brain energy is on people, that doesn't mean I'm applying the thinking center to people. So I don't, I guess I don't understand what that would look like.
But the efficiency of recognizing that you don't have to win the whole room, you just have to win most of it, that is thinking center.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's a decision, but it happens so fast, you don't even know you did it.
Twos, who are farthest away from the thinking center, must win the whole room.
So looking out at a crowd and seeing all the ways that I could win this room over and picking what I feel like is the best one, which I would absolutely, I agree that I do. That's what we're saying threes use the thinking center for. We look out in a room. I do think we see a lot of different things we could do. Mm-hmm. Here's the one I'm going to pick.
Assessment, clarity, discernment,
and
so fast.
None of them are based on what is going on in your heart
I don't
center.
care. Yeah.
Right.
Well, yeah, because
your
I'm
heart center
disconnected
doesn't
from my
matter
heart.
because-
But yeah, it doesn't matter how I feel, right? I'm just reacting to how all of you feel about this, right? I know how I feel about it. Or it doesn't matter, right? Whatever. Okay, thanks.
But then,
That makes
so
sense.
then,
I'll sign
Katie,
off on that.
but then when other people come with their feelings toward you,
Ugh.
you're right.
It's here's the thing. I'm
Did you
super
like
interested
my,
in their
like-
feelings. I'm super interested. I love when people usually I do like when people tell me about their feelings. I work in the Enneagram, right? Like I'm very interested. I don't want you to need me to hold those for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Horrible. That's
Totally.
horrible. Yeah, TJ's nodding. Yeah. I'm super interested in hearing about them. I love hearing about them. I don't want to
data.
have to do anything with them. And I don't want to feel responsible for them. And I don't want you to think I'm responsible for them too. That's also annoying. And hear me saying this from a neutral 3, not like a healthy 3 perspective, right? But yeah, certainly. And then you want something from me too. That's how feeling processors want something from me too, and that's vulnerable.
And that's relatable from my perspective as
Sure,
well.
yeah.
Everything you just said. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's different because it's like, I'm already doing so much for you.
Yeah.
I've already thought about your whole life and everything. You can da-da-da-da-da. And now you want something from me?
Right.
It's like, I'm already
I did
holding
that
the weight of the
already.
world
Yeah.
here. And you're like, oh, but I need more.
Yeah.
Not all. That's a mess.
What I'm hearing, and this is a secondary question, it's what other people need from you. But the 3's coming to the world saying, this is what I need from everyone else. That's where the deductive side is how do I think about how I'm going to get what I intuitively understand to be the most rewarding thing in our culture, in the relationships I hold. And the strategic side of 3s is severe in that space. And I associate that with the head triad.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Look at all that thinking you're doing, Katie. Didn't even know.
Guys, just so smart.
Like what I see in Kelly ends up being, it becomes altruistic in healthy spaces. It becomes, I'm going to think through the relationships I have and the attention that I desire. Like, obviously, I need to meet my needs on these fronts, but on another front, I'm going to think about the community that I love and want to be a part of and have them care about me, and I want to care about them. And obviously, you got to meet your motive at some level, but it's a both and. It's a win-win kind of situation. What can I bring to the table that really elevates the human beings who I genuinely love and adore and want to serve sacrificially, all mixed up together? Like these aren't mutually exclusive.
I think there is an aspect of 3 as well that I'm thinking about now, whereas, so for example, let's say you're a 3 and you work in a marketing team, right? And there's this thing that happens with 3s. We'll use this example, but it happens everywhere, where you watch other people talk about how to win a room over, right? Or how do I get this person to like me, or what do we need to do? And they come up with all these things, and there's this frustration in you as a 3 where you're like, that won't work. I already thought about that. That won't work. Like, we don't do that. We need to do this. Don't do that. We need to, you're all coming up with bad ideas, right? Like that is actually a familiar feeling to me, being on a team or a group or whatever, where we're trying to figure out how to present something. And so I think maybe that's that thinking and the fast processing coming together.
Correct.
I've already
That's
thought about
good.
how to present this to people, and you're all wrong. Here's the way, right? 8s do that with their plan of action, right? So maybe 3s do that with how do we present this?
And if you were invited to justify your opinion, you would do so very fast.
Yeah, sure.
And that would be coming out of your head center.
Thanks, TJ.
Let's talk about stress moves. The thing about processing center is it's obviously the case that you also, this is your stress move as well. It seems to me that there's like almost a doubling down in that space then. So, but I would be curious if you all see any difference between processing with your processing center and the stress move. That question makes sense, TJ?
Yes, and I would say the difference lies in level of health.
I was going to.
I think
Co-sign.
the processing move is neutral. the move to stress can, like, it's not neutral. It's either healthy or unhealthy, and the work comes in with grabbing the tools that are more healthy expressions of that, but I don't think that affects the processing at all. I think awareness is the only real thing about processing.
The processing just is, like TJ said earlier, I'm not surprised that a number other than 3, 6, and 9 came up with this theory, or at least presented this theory, right, in a book. Because I think to us,
Never would have seen
I never would have noticed. I never would have known that other people aren't doing this, because it does not feel like a switch. It doesn't feel like I'm switching from the feeling center to the action center. It just feels like I'm just doing what I always do, right? My stress move feels different. I don't feel like myself, right? I look different. People react to me differently. People wonder what's wrong with me. Like, it is different. It is a different way of being in the world, is what I experience about a stress move. It feels completely different to me. Like, I wouldn't even put them in the same. It feels completely different to me.
Say more. Keep talking.
Like, my stress move, I get lethargic, and I stop dreaming about the future, and I don't believe in myself, and I don't understand how to move forward, and people think something's wrong with me. People think I'm sick. Like, people think just a bunch of stuff.
You're just describing Tuesday for me.
Right.
Right. So for me, I'm like, I go to frantic doing, and I'm like, everyone else is an idiot, and I'm the only one who can frickin' see what needs to be done here.
Yeah, Tuesday.
And I'll just do it.
Yeah.
And it's like, people are like, can I help you? No, you can't.
No. Yeah.
You're too stupid. You don't appreciate me. Like, you don't even know. And then it's just doing. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
So it's like people quit mattering to me at that point.
Yeah.
That's the descent.
Yes.
And that's when, like, this whole, like, 6s know how they're coming across is such a miss. It's so incorrect. Because, like, in that space, it's a desperate call. It's a desperate plea for support and all these things. But it's, like, just a wrecking ball.
Yeah. But you're agreeing it feels totally different than just, like, processing with feeling.
Totally
I like the word
different.
desperate. Mine feels, yeah.
It's got, if our stress move has to have a desperation.
Yeah, I
quality
imagine
to it, I
everybody's
feel like.
stress moves feels
Yeah.
like that, right? Like, I don't know, Jeff, if you would agree with that, but
Oh, wait, what's TJ's first? Then I want to hear.
Yeah, what's
Is this relatable, what we're saying?
Yeah.
Or you're just, like, thinking so much harder. You can.
Well, and I'm also trying to think of a funny way to describe the stress move in a similar way that you two did, and the best I can come up with is, everybody get your shit together.
Kristin, what does that feel?
That's a big part of it.
Okay, Jeff, what? Yeah.
Yeah.
Which would be so scary from your 9. You're like, what's going on?
Yeah.
What I'm hearing is there is the safety net side of the stress move. What I think happens with the stress move is that we shut down our motive and try to adopt a different motive to get some stabilization. So if I'm not getting the security I desire, I move actually into, so the 6, you're not getting the stability. And so you move into the heart center and you opt for their motive, and their motive is attention. And that's what I hear in that language. The same with the 3. The 3 is not getting the attention they desire. And so you move off of that. You pivot off that and you say, look, I'm just going to get stability in my body. And that's why it can look like retreat so much for 3s, is that you're opting for a different motive. At this point in time, other people's attention doesn't matter. I need something else for a minute. And for the 9, it's no longer about experiencing that calm. It's as was described, it gets frantic because you have been pushed into a space where your motive isn't being met. So the 9s who have been so stable, apparently in stress, clearly have something that has rocked their world, and the fear emerges and the desire for security hits. that is not high side stress move. I think that's more like the safety net stress move. Well, you can talk about the other one in a second, but does that ping for you all?
To me, it only works if you acknowledge that it is not a motive that we want.
Yeah. And that's exactly
Yeah,
it
we
as
move
well.
off our primary, like the thing that we normally kind of want,
Yes.
into a space where we're trying to get something that we don't actually want.
That's a good
Kristen
I
trying to
don't
get
get it for
attention,
me.
me trying to get secure. I don't care about that. But
Yeah,
when
I
I am in stress, now all of a sudden I'm trying to get something that I don't actually want that thing. That's why this stress move is unhealthy.
Yep. Or it's uncomfortable. I don't know if it's unhealthy. It's that we all feel. So I feel that when I go into heart space, I feel uncomfortable. And that's what I hear, especially for 9s. I know it with 3s. 3s need justification for taking a day off. Is it okay that I'm in bed all day long?
I am going to go back to your initial question. I'm going to hesitate to sign off on any theory that says that we pick up another motive whether we want to or not, because I do not experience going into 9 as being like, okay, well, I'll settle for stability.
I'm backing Katie on this and having that same reaction. I do not like this theory.
It feels like, so this is going to be because I go to a stopping number. I go to 4, 5, or 9, right? But it feels like nothing is working. I cannot get these people to like me. I don't know what's going on. Alarms are going off. I'm overstimulated. And all of a sudden I just like slam the big red button on the wall. And it's like, nobody look at me. It doesn't feel like all of this is too much. I need to regroup and like stability, right? It feels like this desperate last resort. And all I'm doing is just getting away from all of this shit that's not working.
Yeah, and mine feels like, great, fine. I guess we are all going to die because everyone is too freaking lazy and stupid to actually do the thinking they need to do. So I guess I'll just do what I can do if it's all going to hell in a handbasket anyway.
I don't feel
guess
like
I really
pick up
am alone.
agency or stability or like anger or any of. I don't feel.
No,
that.
I think you're saying it right. It may be overstated to say the motive is taken up elsewhere, but no
or
one
perhaps
looked.
we're representing the worst version. Like this is pathology.
Well, that is what
moving
the
into
stress move
stresses.
is.
Yeah.
Not
We
necessarily.
do all this weird ass shit as we're kind of going down the levels. And then when we plop into our stress move, it's desperate. It's dire.
But I'm
in that moment.
trying to draw a line. Like we can get really good things there, and there's
Sure.
the levels
But that's a
of
whole different.
and
that's
what
an
I'm suggesting
intentional-
is Jeff and I are seeing like the most extreme version of that unhealthiness.
Maybe
But, yeah.
just to pick up on something Katie said, because it illustrated the point, is no one look at me is the opposite of the desire for the heart center, correct? If the heart center wants to be seen and you move into a space where you say, no one look at me, that seems to me to be, I mean, there's something there. Yeah.
I heard her
Yeah.
saying no one is seeing me, and therefore I'm self-destructing. You know, in a moment, not collectively.
Yeah.
No one is seeing me. I'm not. So who am I?
So what's going on? Yeah. Like,
Well, did I mishear you then? Or do you ever?
no, I understand what you're saying. And I'll align with TJ where that's not what I want. I think the language
I see what you're saying.
of whatever
Yeah.
you said about picking up another
Totally.
or like
Let me-
something is not, I still desperately want to be valued. But if I continue doing what I'm doing in 3, I'm going to make everybody hate me, or I'm going to feel like everybody hates me. So I can't do that. I can't keep doing that. And because of my hard wiring, I'm just my big red button is 9. And so I just stop. But that doesn't feel like, oh, none of this is working, so I'll make something else work.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
Like that.
Let me say it from my perspective. I'll pick on ones for a while. When I hit stress, what's happened for me is I'm not able to execute my will in the world. So I'm not able to control my situations or myself. And I go into that for space, which allows me to feel something about myself. Action clearly isn't being fulfilled, so I go into more of an internal introspective space. Of course it's the case that I do want to exercise my will in the world, but it's as though the action portion of my toolbox isn't working, and if it was, then I wouldn't be in stress.
Yes.
I think you're right in terms of saying, no, the motive remains. What I'm really doing is I'm shutting down my primary center when I move into stress. And this is common for a lot of the types. I shut down my primary center. I move into head and heart to do some different kind of work so that I can get some stability so I can move back into my body and execute. That's what I experience in my stress move. Anyone got
Well,
thoughts on that?
that'll be interesting because all of us have already shut down our primary center.
Yeah, right.
Like our primary center is our repressed center. So that's going to be different for us.
And like this whole theory is built on like, we're just beating feet off primary center constantly.
I meant to say that as this is how the rest of us function.
Yeah.
And
No,
y'all don't
I
have
brought that up because that's
experience.
interesting. Yeah. We're not going to relate to that, but it's, I shut down feeling 5 days ago.
Right.
Right.
Well,
I don't need to shut down feeling to do my stress move.
And that would be kind of the question at hand. And then I would love to pivot to high side and we can close. But the question at hand is then why is there anything else to be said about why it's different? Why the stress move is different from processing center move?
It just feels like a completely separate thing. They don't feel related at all. It feels almost coincidental that my processing center is where my stress move is to me.
Bang.
I think maybe if I thought about that, I wouldn't sign off on that. But TJ and Kristin, what do you think about that?
I agree with everything you just said.
I don't know what I think yet. I need some time.
Well, good. There's a dinosaur bone to mess with in the future. Talk about the high side stress move and what you really gain there from that center, not in processing, but in stress.
I have to say something, hold on, about this whole theory and everything that's confusing is because there's really it's just really true that for sixes, this idea of unproductive thinking versus productive thinking has to be understood. It has to be understood because at no point do sixes think they are not thinking. And they are thinking constantly, constantly, constantly. So it's also frustrating to the theory because it's like, I haven't abandoned thinking at any point. What I have abandoned or can't access is productive thought. So I just have to put that out here because there's always I'm thinking and I'm planning and I'm doing and I'm thinking for other people and I'm da-da-da-da-da. So for sixes to hear you shift to relating and not thinking is incorrect. It's a particular kind of thinking. Do you all?
That's what I mean when I say we have to be very careful about what we're talking about when we're talking about the thinking center and the feeling center. So if we're teaching that using the thinking center is just thinking about something, that's wrong because you are going to lose sixes, right? We have to say that the thinking center is productive thinking. So when we say we're moving off of the thinking center.
Right, does not mean you will not be thinking.
No, it does not mean that your brain stops working, right?
Well, no, not only that.
Ruminating and like...
It's a ton of thinking.
Mental energy. You still have plenty of mental energy going.
And you're making plans, which feels productive. You're making... So anyway, I just had to make sure we got that part.
I'm glad you brought that up. That's a good point.
And I think that distinction is also really important with nines because there are a tremendous amount of nines who are very, very, very active people.
Totally.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We got to do threes, though.
Well, threes think that... A lot of threes can talk about, I think especially female threes can talk about our feelings.
Talk about feelings. Ooh.
Love to talk about feelings, right? Don't like to connect, genuinely. And there's a difference. You have to say you performing in front of people and then people liking you is not connecting. Like that's not what we're talking about, right? Getting people to be able to like you and having a wide circle of friends and everybody knows your name. That's not connecting, right? That's not what we're talking about. Yeah. So.
Our friend Sean Palmer as a 3, we talked a lot about performing feelings. Threes become very, very good at performing their feelings.
Yes. Yeah. Go ahead, Kristin. Sorry.
the reason that came up for me when I thought about gathering from the stress number is it's a lot of productive thinking required. So when I go to 3 to get stuff, I have to really connect with, what do I have to bring to the table? What do I have here that is of value? And trust that I can just bring that and say that and sort of let the cards fall where they may. And then I also have to do a lot of thinking about self-respect. What do I really respect about myself? Why am I worthy of being in this space? Like, there's a lot of productive thinking that has to go with that. And I can feel the angst even talking about it, much less saying specific things. So it's a lot of careful thought required that 6s believe is putting them at risk. So it's a really interesting dynamic.
That's good.
And perhaps that stress move has something to do with like the opposite of what I was saying earlier about where the secondary center is not directed toward our own experience of our primary center. So the stress move then becomes about bringing that into ourselves.
The positive stress move.
Yeah, right. The healthy stress move.
Yeah.
Would that not be your secure move?
No, because so 9s moving into stress, a big part of what is good there is about putting things in order to make a plan. Like there is work that needs to be done, and I have to figure out what the work is. I have to put everything in order and figure out what matters.
Get some urgency.
And apply some urgency and like figure out how to productively do the things that need to get done. Whereas that is not like I'm not actively ever without intention thinking about what needs to be done.
Worth noting the stance for all 3 of you in this stress move, because the 9's becoming much more reactive. So the 3 needs to withdraw, and the 6, in order to fulfill their motive and get in the right place, kind of needs to get up and get a little bit more independent. Other stuff on the high side,
But independent in a group.
Bring in trust.
Yeah.
Trust yourself.
Trust yourself. That's what, yeah.
Yeah.
Independent numbers have the highest self-confidence. You just got to pick up a little bit of that.
Is it not the case, like for the 6, if it's in the group, it's that the independence allows you to really project and say, this actually does matter, and you all need to pay attention to the thing that I'm bringing to the table. It's worthy of note and concern.
For 6s to do that in a measured way is extraordinarily difficult.
But that would be high side 3 space, yeah.
That would be high side 3 space,
Yeah,
yes.
and that's what and
they
can,
stand in that and let.
I don't know about 6s. I've mastered the Enneagram and how to allow it to change my life. So no work needing to be done over here.
What luck?
9s, 3s moving to high side 9. You got anything there, Katie?
Yeah, so both of my lines offer me stepping off of the stage.
Yeah. Both lines. That's a good line.
I actually think you can do that around the circle. There is some common message in both of your lines.
Yeah.
One for you, Jeff, both of your lines offer you freedom. One of them offers you freedom in thinking, and one of them offers you freedom in feeling. Anyway, we could do that for all the numbers. So 9 specifically, to contrast quickly with 6 puts me as one of many, and 9 just lets me step off the stage and not care about going back up and being like, yeah, we can do whatever you want to do. Theoretically. Or, yeah, I don't need to be in control of all of this. Cool. Right? Yeah, we can go to that. Like, whatever. That seems so silly, but that's so
Seriously.
hard to not need to be on the stage and not even have people know that I was there, you know? The very first interview I had with you guys, you asked me what I'm motivated by, and I said I don't want to be forgotten. And healthy 9 lets me let go of that a little bit. right? So that's what
I
9 does
can
for me.
contact that. Like what you're describing, it's so interesting because 6s, I do think they're like, don't ever look at me. But really, it's like, do you freaking see?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's very relatable.
You don't have to look at
in
me,
a-
but you see the work I'm doing, right? I noticed the 6s do. Like I had a woman who couldn't figure out if she was a 3 or a 6, and I was like, do you need recognition for your work? Like, do you, right? Do you want people to know? She was like, no, not really. Like, I don't need to get an award, but I do want people to like know I did the work for them. And I was like, a 3 would want like the award. Like, I want to be on the stage, all the things. Anyway, I didn't say that very well, but
You said that great.
that's
Yeah, that's
both of my numbers tell me both of my numbers throw tomatoes at me to get me off the stage a little bit. But in a healthy and helpful way.
and yeah, that's
The 9 says, "Hey, look at this couch. You could come
This
sit
thing you
here.
can sit on. Yeah.
Doesn't this look nice?"
People would never know
Got
you
some
were here, and
popcorn?
isn't that great?
It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Friends, I'm sitting back just with one of the few experiences that I truly experience of joy is when I get to be around the three of you. I just sit back.
I know. I was
and
like,
just
are we
bathe in
ending?
this.
I hate that.
So just know how much you mean to me, and that I've just been so thrilled at what's brought to the table here. Last words before we sign off.
Oh, I feel a gushy relationship thing arising in
Do
me.
it.
I can't. I might cry.
Do it.
This is just really this is really special. Like I feel honored is how I feel to be
Did a lot of
in
work to get here.
space with you all. Yeah, it's really special. So thanks.
Agreed.
Well, Katie, I'm
PJ,
gonna
you have
ask,
no final thoughts?
Trying to think.
sorry, I didn't mean to step on you there.
Nah, it's cool. I didn't say anything, so
Yeah,
I didn't insert myself. I am deeply fascinated by how different 3, 6s, and 9s are from the hexad, from all the other numbers. And at the same time, there are theories that we are sort of that you start with a 3 and then branch out to the other 7. And so I hope that other people have heard things that help them understand themselves a little bit more, almost like we're like the concentrated version of the centers. And I think it is also really important, like we mentioned this a couple of times, so like it is really so much of Enneagram work is about recognizing that you're swimming in water and calling it water. Like we so often, all of us are just like, this, what are you talking about? I don't know what water is. It's just a thing. And because we're swimming in the water. And so I'm glad to hear that there are other types that experience this kind of thing as well. And I hope that everyone else has heard something that they can relate to in a similar way.
You would, you 9. That's great.
Building on that, we're going to be releasing Katie and I's discussions, mostly Katie's work on the wings here in June. Lots of language around this in terms of that starting point. It's also the case that I'm doing a study of Dr. Daniel Siegel's book, Personality and Wholeness and Therapy. You can find that at aroundthecircle.org, but we've hit exactly what TJ is talking about a lot because of the ways that the centers work biologically, neurologically. Lots to say there about why it's the case that 3, 6s, and 9s come to the world this way, and that it is kind of the other types are kind of shifting slightly. And that's what I got. So, y'all got anything else?
Thanks, guys.
I got nothing.
Appreciate y'all. You guys are the best.
You are.
Bye.
TJ knew what to say.
Somebody told me that if you look closely, you can see the color of another man's soul.